Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in today. Today's special guest basically needs no introduction, but however, I will introduce the lovely Rhiannon Lewis. Thank you so much for your time, Rhiannon.
David, it's a joy to be with you, and hi to everybody on IFPA. It's really a great opportunity to connect and say
Yeah,
hello.
it's wonderful. So yeah, I really appreciate your time today. And as always, I always start off with the usual question. How did you get involved in aromatherapy? Where did your aromatherapy journey start?
Wow, David, it goes way back. Okay, so prepare yourself.
Okay. No, I love this one. I'm really excited.
Well, I finished qualifying in my first course in holistic aromatherapy in 1989. So I'm not good at maths, but that's like 33 years ago, something like that. So it's quite, I'm one of those people that have been around the block a bit in the aromatherapy and the essential oils world. My initial training was in holistic aromatherapy with the Rayworth Centre in Dorking in Surrey. So that was my starting point in terms of aromatherapy training. But what got me into it was that I was nursing. In my former life, I was specialized in intensive care nursing, and I came to a point in that journey where I realized that, yes, I wanted to be with people who are sick and to help them, but saving lives and tubes and machinery and medicines and doctors' scripts and the politics and the paperwork of nursing, especially as you go up in the different levels of nursing, your distance from the patient gets greater. And so it wasn't fitting with my heart path. So at that time, I'd been using essential oils for myself, for helping cope with shift work, helping cope with working in such a high tech and high stress environment. And they'd made such a difference to me personally that I got hooked. And that's what led me into completely converting. I literally made the decision to leave nursing and study a full-time aromatherapy course. So that was quite some time ago now. People thought I was mad, but I've never looked back.
Oh wow, wow! No, that's a wonderful journey to kind of flow into the aromatics and aromatherapy. So, was there any particular aromas that attracted you at the start? Anything specific that kind of sucked you in, to use that expression?
I think the two that really got me going with aromatherapy, and it was thanks to a tiny little book, my very first book that I bought as a nurse for my own self-care, was a book by Shirley Price. It might have been one of her very first ones. It was tiny, and I've never been able to find it since. But the two oils that really helped me personally get going with aromatherapy, and then what led me into training, were lavender and rosemary. You know, your good old fail-safe oils. One for calming me down, and for helping me adjust to shift changes and different working hours. And the rosemary when things were like tough and I needed to be bright and alert. So those are my two starting point oils. I'm somebody I don't get into the deep exotic oils, the ones that are complex and mysterious. I suppose it's a bit like me. I'm quite a direct person. I like simplicity. I like things to be clean and sharp and easy to follow. And so I like those oils too. Things like rosemary, they're not complicated. You know what they're going to do.
Mm.
They do what it says on the bottle, as it were.
Yeah,
So
no, nothing wrong with that at all. Sometimes the traditional oils, for lack of a better, the best. I still refer to them myself, so I always.
yeah, it's like so many people when they say, how did you start out, and they're expecting this amazing story. Like, I had a dream and somebody in a white robe came to me with a 100-year-old bottle or a vial or something like that, and something really special story. But actually, my story is really very simple.
No, that's wonderful. That's wonderful to hear. Rhiannon, after you did your training and that, did you continue working in the nursing field, or did you kind of go, right, that's it, I'm going straight out and becoming an aromatherapist?
When I left the intensive care environment and I said goodbye to all of my colleagues, I said, I quit. I literally resigned as a nurse and I went into full-time study. And I said to them, I'll be back, but I'll be back wearing a different hat. And that's what happened.
Okay.
So I carried on working in the clinical environment, but I had the aromatherapist hat on. So, all those years of nursing and the clinical experience was really helpful to me. It's given me you can't, once you're a nurse, you can't remove that completely. So it's given me a clinical interest. But from that point on, from training in aromatherapy, I became an aromatherapist. But I worked in medical settings, but I worked as a therapist.
Okay. Well, fantastic. So yeah, you worked in a clinical environment for all those times.
Yeah, I worked I worked in a range of environments actually. One of the longest standing ones was working with a GP practice on Epsom Downs, right near the big race course that's there with the Epsom, where people probably know the Epsom Derby and all of that. There's a big multidisciplinary practice there, and I worked with the doctors there. There were 7 of them. And I had some wonderful experiences working as part of their team. I've also worked in an osteopathic practice. I've worked in a healthcare, what do you call that in English? Sorry, I'm half thinking in French.
No.
A sports center. I've worked above a health food store. I've visited people in their homes. I think you've pretty much ticked almost all of the boxes, as it were, of where an aromatherapist could possibly show up and work.
Well, you have a very wide selection of different clients then, by the sounds of it, as well, in all those different environments as well. So in different ages as well, I imagine different
Yes.
ailments as well. So yeah, you've collected a lot of information with aromatherapy and your clients. So yeah, that sounds wonderful.
And I'm still practicing today. So I think that's important too, because my work has moved over the years into education and sharing information. And the company that I have is called Essential Resource Consultants, and we provide information and education and research in the field of essential oils. So a lot of my work is about communicating about aromatherapy and essential oils, but I've always retained all the way through my practitioner experience, because I think it's important. I think, to be able to educate, whether I'm educating in a hospital or a hospice or in any type of setting, I like to share from my experience as well as from an evidence base, of course, but to still be a practitioner all these years through informs my practice and actually is really, really useful. I'm
I think
still working as a therapist.
Awesome. No, that's wonderful to hear. And that kind of segues me into kind of where we are now in a roundabout way with your upcoming Essence of Clinical Aromatherapy seminar.
Oh, yes, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
happening in May, isn't it? So
Yeah,
tell us a little bit about that.
I will. Thank you, David. In 2017, I held the first ECA event, or Essence of Clinical Aromatherapy event. It was in the hospital in London. It was the Royal Marsden Hospital. And we held it as a one-day seminar with different lectures about clinical aromatherapy. And then 2 years later, we did it again in the Royal Marsden Hospital. It had grown by that stage because it had really been a wonderful event at the first time. So we grew it by an extra day. And then it was wonderful. And then COVID hit. So our third event, which was in 2021, was held completely online. And so that was also it was a blessing and a curse, because the curse part, if you like, is the fact that what's so important about these educational events is that people come together and that we actually get to meet and share face to face and exchange and learn from one another. And so that whole part about connection in person, of course, wasn't possible. But the blessing part about holding that ECA 2021 online was that we reached far more people. So we had people from 40, 45 different countries attending, which wouldn't have been possible in an in-person event. And we were able to offer far more lectures and far more accessibility to great information. So it was a a needs must, because we had no choice. We couldn't be in person. But it was it was extremely successful. So what we're doing this year, because ECA happens every 2 years, so for our 4th edition, we're going the full way and making this a hybrid event. And what that means is that people can join us in person in May. The dates are the 20th and the 21st. People can come to Edinburgh at the Royal Botanic Garden, which is where the seminar will take place. And that actually, interestingly, is thanks to IFPA, because I attended a conference, I was a speaker at a conference that IFPA organized several years ago, and I loved the space. So when I was looking to where to put this 4th edition of ECA, I remembered this lovely conference space in Edinburgh, and that's where we will be. So it's an in-person event, but it's also live streamed. So we have a production crew that is present as well, and they are filming all of the lectures, and they're live streaming it onto an online platform. So we have a dedicated app. People can attend the conference through their mobile phone or through their main computer. And they can actually watch in real time the lectures taking place, or they can watch them all by replay for a 3-month period. So we've sort of now combined the two, put together the online and the in-person, because the in-person part is so special. So that's what we're up to. It's 2 full days of lectures. We have speakers from different countries. We have the wonderful Carol Rose coming from New Zealand. We have Madeleine Kerkhoff from the Netherlands, Jonathan Benavides from the Netherlands. We have 2 Italian researchers headed our way. We have a researcher from Nottingham on mental health and the nervous system effects of essential oils. It's quite a broad spectrum, but it's all to do with making a difference in people's lives with the clinical use of essential oils. I'm really excited about it because it's 2 jam-packed days, and I'm thrilled that we're going to be in person as well. And I can't wait to meet people. And Edinburgh is such a lovely city to visit, and the ambience is going to be wonderfully aromatic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And especially during May as well. That's kind of when, I remember when I was living in the UK, it was kind of that time of year that everything came alive really in May. It was a different atmosphere, and it was really getting lighter. And anyway, that's beside the point, the weather. But
but it is great. And Edinburgh in May is very beautiful because you still have spring flowers and it's all green and lush. You don't have too many midges that are going to be biting you. And also the Botanic Gardens themselves, where the event is housed. That's, May is a magnificent month for the Botanic Gardens. So our pauses at the event will be taken in the gardens themselves. So people have little picnic packs to wander out of the conference centre and into the gardens, and to really benefit from, just the surroundings and from nature.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That sounds fantastic. I really, I'm really looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I won't be there in person, but I shall be logging in remotely.
Good, David.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You're a little bit far away, so
yeah, I would have loved to have come, but yeah, maybe not. Unfortunately, this is kind of the first year that travel's freed up again from here, and but maybe another one, and maybe another one. That is for sure.
Oh, I hope to welcome you. I hope to welcome you.
And yeah, everyone in the UK, try and get along up to Edinburgh. That is for sure. And also this.
Yes, head up to Edinburgh. Come and join us, because I think you're going to be in, well, I know you're going to be in for a really special treat. We have somebody very special opening the conference with me. We have the wonderful Dr. Jane Buckle, who is coming out of retirement to pop up to Edinburgh to come and open the event. Because if you think about who put clinical aromatherapy on the map, it was Jane. And so for me, I love to open events like this. I also organize other conference events such as the Botanica conference series, and the same applies. Is I like to start off on a high with somebody who's been so key to influencing the evolution of the aromatherapy profession. So I'm really honored that Jane will join us, and we have
Mhm.
lots of other really special speakers I can't wait to share
Oh,
with everybody.
oh no, that sounds wonderful. And speaking of Botanica, is there any difference the way you've approached this particular conference as opposed to Botanica? Is it like a different?
Yeah, it is actually. The Botanica conference series, which also runs every 2 years, and it runs in between the ECA. The Botanica conference series has been running for longer, first of all. It started in 2012. But the goal of Botanica is much broader. The goal of Botanica is to showcase both herbal therapeutics and aromatherapy together, to show how these two professions that have often evolved separately, how they dovetail and how they come together. So it's a much broader and a much bigger event in terms of the scope of the topics that are covered, whereas the ECA event is just focused on clinical aromatherapy. And so it's usually related to what's going on in hospices, what's going on in hospitals, or what clinical symptoms or what disease states we can work with. How do we make a difference at the bedside? Really using our professional aromatherapy skills to just go that step further and to learn from one another how powerful essential oils are for making a difference in people's health and well-being. It doesn't mean that you have to be a clinical aromatherapist to attend. As long as you are interested in your making a difference to your patients or your clients' health and well-being, then the ECA is absolutely up your street. And it also doesn't matter what part of the journey of aromatherapy you're in, whether you're a student aromatherapist or whether you're somebody who's got years of experience. The event itself caters for everybody, and you'll see that it's a really warm ambiance and great learning and fantastic networking, because there's people from all over the world.
Mm, that's one thing I do most definitely miss myself is the in-person kind of connectivity. Although the Zoom internet world through COVID, it has definitely made it possible that I can meet wonderful people such as yourself over this technology. But there's nothing like that in-person connection, especially with other therapists. I find it a very
I agree. And I'm very conscious that, a lot of aromatherapists are working solo. And so, a lot of people are in private practice, or they are a sole practitioner in a particular environment. And it can feel quite isolating. When you're studying aromatherapy, you've got all your team around you, you've got your, the people you're learning with, and it's all great. And then you go out into the big wide world, and very often you're alone. And it's when you get events like this where you can come and all that we have that connects us is our passion for essential oils. It doesn't matter whether you're a doctor, a researcher, a nurse, a therapist, a student, whatever, that is irrelevant. And what's relevant is what brings us together, which is our passion for what we do with essential oils. So people really connect, and it's a joy to see that. I love that part of the event. We always build in special bits into the seminar so that people can connect.
Yeah. No, I think it's fantastic. You can connect over Instagram or whatever, but it's not the same. It's not the same, is it? It doesn't
The
have
same.
the
Yeah.
same. Not to digress, but kind of again segue into ICAN. If you could a
Ah,
little bit about about that. It's something that you referred me to and that I've been looking at. So yeah, if you could tell us a bit about
Yeah, well, ICAN actually came out of this conference series or this seminar series. In fact, we launched it in 2021 at the end of the last Essence of Clinical Aromatherapy seminar. And what it is, ICAN stands for the International Clinical Aromatherapy Network. It's an online space where anybody who's professionally interested or working with essential oils is able to be present. So it isn't for people who just have a general interest in aromatherapy or for the general public. It is a professional space where practitioners, researchers, producers, distillers, suppliers, educators, organizations like IFPA can be present on the platform. And it's a place where you can come for information, for sharing, for resources, for learning more, for taking part in live events. And it's just this member-supported, very cool space. And I felt that this was needed because I'm an international person, okay? I live in France at the moment. I've lived in Singapore. I was born in Africa. I've spent some of my time in the UK. You know, I'm very much somebody, and I've also traveled very widely with my teaching. So I've always been somebody that has really respected and celebrated the international connections and how people use essential oils differently around the world. And so I thought that this would be really cool to provide a space where people, no matter whether you're in South Korea or Great Britain or Australia, wherever you are, you can come and be present on the platform. And so it's about bringing people together, irrespective of which school you studied with and irrespective of which organization you studied with. So it's a lovely way of uniting people around the world with aromatherapy. It's not an organization, it's just a network. So we're not like, you know, people don't have to say, oh, should I be a member of IFPA or a member of ICAN? It's not at all on the same you know, level. We're just a member supported network. And it's very, very cool because what happens is that we have been very careful. We're a team of 3. I have Magali, who's with me, who is based in France, and Julia Falkenstein, who's based in Berlin. And we work really hard to create and to curate this safe professional space that's beautiful, it's welcoming, and it has strong principles of respect and security. So no matter who is on the platform, you are respected, you are heard, you are welcomed, and there's no you know, a bit like on Facebook, and we were just chatting a moment ago, it's not like the Wild West of Facebook where, you know, you post something and then somebody's going to tell you you're stupid or shoot you down in flames, or you don't dare contribute because you think that somebody's going to disagree with you. ICANN's not like that. It is a safe professional network. It's also advertising free. We have business members who are able to make some posts about what they do and to connect with people, but we don't get spamming. We don't get, like, you know, ads popping up. It's just a professional space to be, and it's free. So the basic access is completely free, and it gives you a wonderful overview of the platform, and you can stay as long as you like. So it's not, there's no sort of timeline that's associated with it where you can only have a free access for, say, 2 months. It's free all the time. Unless you want to step up and unlock certain spaces on the platform that are member supported. So because we're a membership supported organization or network, all the funds that we raise go into hosting the platform itself. So we have a student access, we have a professional access, we have a business access, and those those memberships take you to different parts of the platform. We have an amazing resources library with videos and articles and all sorts of great learning tools. We have a forum for discussion. We have private and public groups within the platform. We have a live feed. What else? We have a bit like LinkedIn, you have a profile section where you can put your CV, your photo, your your journey with essential oils, and have it almost like your business card that people can connect with you. People private message. We host events. We host classes. There's a big class starting next week. So it's just a fabulous resource, and I'd really recommend that people check it out. And we have many IFPA members already on the platform, but it would always be lovely to have more.
Absolutely.
Come and join us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to pop all those details to the ICAN site just below, everyone. So please go check it out. I'll pop that down below, along with the Essence of Clinical Aromatherapy conference details as well, if you haven't seen them as well. So
brilliant. Wow. Thank you, David.
No. Everyone, please try and get on board with the conference, whether it be remotely or in person, if you can, make it up to Edinburgh, and check out ICAN, most definitely. Yeah. So, Rhiannon, I always ask everyone, what are some of your favorite essential oils, apart from your rosemary and lavender? Do you have any other favorites that you personally go using, and just for your own self,
Yeah, I do actually. I'm looking at what I've got on my desk in front of me actually. The one that I'm in love with at the moment, which I haven't used in a long time, but it just jumped out of the bottle. It's called Combava.
Okay.
It's Combava petitgrain, so it's distilled from the leaves and the twigs of the citrus hystrix.
Okay.
So the Combava is the fruit and a citrus fruit, and this is from the leaves and the twigs. And this particular one is from Madagascar, but you can also have it from the Reunion, and it's phenomenal. That's all I can say. That's my current favorite. It's what's keeping me fresh and lively and buzzy throughout the day whilst I'm working on the computer. And it's absolutely delightful. And if people do not know about Combava petitgrain, I really recommend that they it's lemony, it's zesty, it's got a twist of grapefruit in it. It's got that slight acidity, but the rest of it is just so vibrant. So that's my current one. But there's all sorts of other ones, of course. Another big favorite of mine, because I work a lot with pain. Where I live in the mountains in Provence, we're mainly shepherds and farmers. So a lot of the work that I do is to do with injuries or infections, or it's often physical stuff. Somebody's been bitten by their dog or been kicked by a goat or whatever. So I'm often dealing with pain, and one of the pain oils that I reach for so often is spike lavender. It's a classic for me. It goes in a lot of my pain formulations. It really works. So that's on the physical level, and I use a lot of it. And this Combava petitgrain is what's keeping me going at the moment, just keeping my energy up.
Well, I haven't heard about that one myself, I'll admit 100%.
Oh,
now I'm going to research it for sure.
It's mouth-wateringly delicious.
That's why I love speaking to different aromatherapists, because I get tips myself on what oils everyone likes as well. So how about is there any that you don't get along with, or really like no?
Yeah, I'm not good with absolutes, and I don't like oils that have the esters of the benzoic acid esters, things like benzyl benzoate, benzyl acetate that you find in ylang ylang, you find it in jasmine absolute, you'll find things like that in hyacinth and narcissus and jonquil absolutes. I can't get on with them. They give me a headache immediately.
Okay.
So I learned that very early on with ylang ylang essential oil and with jasmine absolute, but it actually translates, I made the connection eventually chemically, it translates across into a lot of those white flower absolutes, those really, really intense, slightly spicy ester scents. They just don't work for me. So
No,
I've learned that if my client or my patient needs them, they get them in a bottle or they get them in a pot and they can use them at home, no problem. I have no problem formulating for them, but I would never use them personally in a massage for somebody because they make me feel unwell.
yeah. Well, that's important to look after yourself as well while you're treating.
Yeah.
Well, so, Rhiannon, thank you so much for sharing all that wonderful knowledge and information about your own personal oil loves and dislikes, and also again telling us about your journey. I found it really fascinating. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Everyone, I'm going to pop Rhiannon's details down here that you can contact her on her Instagram, and her websites and all that will be down here. So yeah, please go check out Rhiannon's sites.
Oh, you're so kind. It's been a joy. It's been a joy chatting with you, David.
Lovely.
And
Lovely.
I'm
Really
grateful for the invitation. It's lovely to connect. And you know, I'm a fellow of IFPA. I have been for many years, and I'm always deeply grateful to all that the organization does for its members. And it's lovely to connect in this way with members and say, you know, you're part of a great organization.
Yeah, no, it's important, and we appreciate your time, Rhiannon. Thank you so much.
A pleasure. Take care.
You
Bye,
too.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks a lot.